Welcome to the Fantasy Happy Hour. Fantasy Happy Hour. Presented by Sportsneak. With your hosts, Justin Sauce and Terry Licious. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Here we go. Fantasy Happy Hour Week 6. First of all, thank you everyone for the views last week. That was our second most popular video, first most for Fantasy Happy Hour. So thank you so much. This week, Week 6, we'll jump right into it. We got the 1-4 Washington Commanders. Carson Wentz train versus the 2-3 Chicago Bears. Taryn, let us know what you got for this one.
Yeah, that's a doozy. We got a couple at the bottom of the barrel of their divisions, but two teams in very tough divisions. I'll start with that. The Bears are, battling the Vikings, my Vikings, and the Packers here, and they're going to need to win a lot of games coming down the stretch to keep up with those two teams. And then how about the NFC East? Usually it's the division that get whoever breaks through is, less than 500. And this year, 5-0 Eagles, 4-1 Cowboys, out Dak, and then the Jumbo Giants are 4-1 as well. So I don't get it. This is a tough division for the Commanders to come out of. I think now we're going to start to see them either have to go on a run or they're going to start to, test guys out and see what comes forward from that. But, we'll jump into quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, his attempts are super high. He's averaging about 39 attempts a game. His efficiency sucks, but 300-yard games so far this season. He has really good weapons in McLaurin and Samuel, and then a lot of those secondary guys are kind of deep threats. We saw that with De'Ami Brown last week. I think this is another one. It's like stacked with your quarterback. So if you like this game script going pass heavy, both these defenses have been mediocre in all regards. So that's not really something that you need to look at in this. I don't think there's a defensive spot where we should be looking one way or the other. In my opinion, Cousins had no issue throwing to any receiver there last week against the Bears. So there's a good spot for Wentz. I mean, I watched all that Vikings game and it looked like every receiving, play was wide open. So I don't know if there's just no secondary with the Bears or not. Fields, I think this is your upside quarterback. I mean, he rushes a lot more. He's much better with his legs. He just has no weapons to throw to. So, you have a mix here. But I think he might get it done with his legs this week. I think he's got higher upside against Washington to, maybe run a few into the end zone. So I like playing him a lot more. And then again, the Commanders have not put up less than 21 points against them. So they're, this could be a big boom spot with the Bears. This could also be a good kind of higher scoring game. The total is super low at 38. So I think this could be a game where you see a lot more points because these defenses have been pretty bad overall. Running back's probably the most interesting spot because these are two teams that rely heavily on them. The Bears, David Montgomery comes back. When he's healthy, he gets the ball a ton, 20 to 25 attempts usually. Last week, just due to the game script, he wasn't in the game as much against the Vikings, but, still got, his workload. Last week, Derrick Henry ran for over 102 TDs against this Commanders defense. So, I mean, it's another spot for Montgomery, who has no Q tag going into this week. So I would expect big things from him. When he plays a lot compared to, teams that run a rotation at running back. So I think if you're going to go to a running back, it's got to be him, or else you're kind of playing on injury, but that's very slim odds and kind of a low leverage play. The Commanders here, this is an interesting backfield. So this is a committee backfield, but the early reports going into the season was Brian Robinson took over this position from Gibson. He was expected to be the lead back, then got hurt. So now he out-carried Gibson 9-3 last week. So it appears they're going to utilize him in the run game. And now that they're 1-4, they're probably going to give him a lot more work, test him out, get him used to this offense, because I think they like him more. But Gibson and McKissick were the only two that got the usage in the pass game. So if you think they're trailing, this might be a better spot to go to those two. But I like this Brian Robinson. If you think this game just is back and forth, I think him and David Montgomery are good plays together. And I think the Bears, you can play the running back with the quarterback because David Montgomery was their highest receiving yard player last week against the Vikings. So it's a good spot for him. This is also a good spot if they're trailing. So look for McKissick. I like McKissick more. I think Gibson's going to get slowly worked out of this. offense. Wide receiver will move there. The Commanders, McLaurin and Samuel play almost every down. Both always get their workload. I think 6 for 80 and 7 for 60 or something last week between the two of them. Both have good games almost every week. They're kind of right in that middle zone, but they just don't seem to get the touchdown usage. De'Ami Brown had a major spike week last week, catching 2 on 4 targets for both TDs. One was a big long play. So I would avoid him. I think people are going to chase that as if he's going to get that again, and I just don't think that's likely. If Josh Dotson is back, I like him a lot. He was the red zone guy. He caught 4 TDs, I think, in the 3 games he played. So I like him in a showdown type lineup. And then on the Bears, this is one of the worst receiving cores we've seen in a while. Darnell Mooney's kind of the only guy. He absolutely made a beautiful catch there last week against the Vikings, one-handed. I don't know why they don't use him more. Feels like a moment where they could. So he's kind of that locked play if you're going to stack a receiver. Dante Pettis looked like he couldn't catch a ball. Everything just went through his hands. I don't know where you go past Mooney in this. I think they lean more on their tight ends and running backs in the pass game than these backup receivers. So you're really just playing that one of them catches a touchdown, but this is a very, very bad receiving core. Go over to tight end, Cole Kmet. He picked up last week because of this receiving core being poor. So 4 for 4 last week, but didn't get in the end zone. I think he's the best play as far as getting in the end zone maybe this week and getting there. So I would lean towards him over some of these secondary receivers. And then Logan Thomas might be back. It's kind of questionable right now. If he is in, I like him because Wentz loves his safety blankets. So, prior years, he was very much heavy on the tight end, especially with the Colts. So you can lean there. That's kind of all I got. I'll take it to Justin in the double doink section. It's a tough game.
Yeah, moving on over to the kickers. Not much action going on the Commander side. We got Joey Sly, who's not seen very much action this year. He's 3.2 fantasy points per game, which is the lowest we've seen for a kicker starting out the season. The problem with him right now is the first 3 weeks, they didn't even get a chance to go to Joey for a field goal at all. Just a couple of extra points. So that's really it. And then he's got an opportunity for 1 each week of the last 2 weeks. So nothing exciting there. One was a 50-yarder, the other one was 40 to 49-yard range. So you're really not missing out on the points. And then moving on over to the other side of the ball, we got Cairo Santos, a little bit better, 8.25 fantasy points per game. Still on the low side for kickers, though. He's 7 for 7 on the year with a 51-yarder long, but 5 for 7 on the extra points. Keep in mind that he missed 2 week 1, so it seems like he's getting back into the groove of it. And if you're even looking at upside would still be historically lean towards Cairo Santos. I guess it just really depends on how you think the Commanders are going to play the game, and if you think they're going to give Joey Sly the opportunity to kick a little bit more. But if we're looking at the first 5 game sample size, I would say fade Commanders kicker for sure, unless you really want to be different and you're doing multiple lineups. And then if you're looking to mix and match your cheap option, then you could consider Cairo Santos, depending on how you think the game's going to go. Anything else to add into this one, Taryn?
I just want to mention this is at Soldier Field, so the Bears are at home here. That is a tough place to play. It does get a little chilly now that we're working into the winter, and it's known to be a very hard home field advantage as far as the Bears go. And I think it'll be a tough spot for Wentz to go in, especially the way he's been playing. He has been throwing a ton, but he's made a lot of errors. So this could be a spot for a Bears D who has not shown much. But, Wentz gives you the opportunity. So it's kind of a thought.
Perfect. Well, we will see you guys in week 7. Thank you guys very much for watching. If y'all like the video, please give us a thumbs up and comment who you think you are going to pick this week. Let us know what you think, who you think is going to win and what the score potential will be. And if you're really enjoying the videos, consider giving us a subscribe. It would really help. We're on the road to 300. We're at 234. So let's keep the train rolling into week 7. We will see you guys next week. Peace.